Welcome to the SmartTechCheck podcast, hosted by Mark Vina, your home for candid, insightful, and provocative conversations about the smart home automation, security, smartphones, PC and console gaming, and much more.
Hey folks, this is Mark Vina, CEO of SmartTech Research. SmartTech Research is proud to have Aura sponsoring my SmartTechCheck podcast. Aura security software is the all-in-one digital safety net for the whole family. It's literally like having a personal cyber guardian that protects all of the devices in your home on a 24/7 basis. What's more, its AI functionality stands out as it constantly learns and adapts to threats, keeping your family and you safe around the clock. It's a must-have solution for anyone serious about online security. Stay tuned for a special no-obligation promo offer for Aura that will give you cybersecurity peace of mind.
Hi, I'm Anna with SmartTech Research. Whether you're browsing the web, checking emails, monitoring your children's online behavior, spam calls and identity protection, and conducting online transactions, Aura has your back, ensuring a secure and seamless experience every time. Aura's comprehensive security solutions are compatible with Microsoft Windows, Apple Mac OS, Android, iOS, and iPad OS devices. For an exclusive 14-day no-obligation trial version of Aura, use the on-screen QR code or visit the website shown here. Aura is the smart, simple way to stay safe online.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Vina, host of the SmartTechCheck podcast. Today is Friday, March 15th, 2024. Joining me for today's podcast are my regulars, John Quain, who writes for the New York Times, Smart Cities and Tom's Guide, Stuart Walprin, who writes for Popular Mechanics, AARP, Techlicious, Investopedia, and other tremendous publications, and Rob Pedrero, who writes about tech developments at PC Mag, Fast Company, and other publications. Rob, I have to plug you in. I know it's you and not Aaron Rodgers who's running with Robert Kennedy Jr. I didn't want to pre-announce that, but unfortunately, I'm taking the wind out of the sail.
Absolutely not. I would do a better job than Aaron Rodgers as Veep, but that's not saying much.
No, I like to tease Rob about his affiliation with certain political candidates. So anyway, I'm only kidding. So folks, John, I usually would do a couple of minutes of just talking to you guys about what's going on. I'll just give you 30 seconds each. John, you're not gallivanting. You were doing some course related stuff. Why don't you kind of fill everybody up for 30 seconds?
Sure. I was at Sonoma, Michelin. It's all about sustainability and trying to make tires that are recycled material tires, which is the first sort of instance of them trying to really push that forward. It's actually a lot more challenging than you would think. And all those truck tires, et cetera. Now I was driving a Porsche and racing around the track, but I also tried out a tractor trailer, which was kind of fun. So it was technology, though.
I'm sure you didn't enjoy yourself. Rob, I know you're gonna do a deep dive on South by Southwest, but anything that where are you heading? You just got back from Austin, but are you heading anywhere?
I don't, believe it or not, I do not have any work flights on my calendar. I hope that will change soon enough, but right now, nope. Just spring break coming up a week from tomorrow.
Okay. All right, so
I've done enough to prop up the airline industry in the past 2 months, right?
No, you've been traveling like a madman, yeah. So, and then Stuart, of course, who's waiting for the baseball season to begin, and so am I. Although my New York Yankees are going to start off with a problem with Garrett Cole. But anything going on with you, Stuart?
Yes, I'll be jetting off to Los Angeles next week for Sony's line show.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I'll see you there. Yeah, I'll be there too.
Well, that's great. Well, hey, let's hop into the our topic here. You know, I was mentioning to John before the podcast. Can we not mention Elon Musk? But I can't resist.
No.
But we'll talk about that in a moment. The U.S. House voted early in the week to force TikTok to divest and sell to an American company. It was pretty overwhelming, obviously, in the House. Now the deliberative body, the Senate, will take it up. I have mixed views on the issue. I mean, I technically, I'm one of these free market kind of guys, and I just don't like the government to jump in and force unnatural things to happen. But this one's a different beast to a substantial extent, because they've been given opportunities to divest here, and they haven't done that. and I'm just nervous about the fact that even, and again, it's kind of an inside baseball kind of comment. Even though when you have data farms that are in the United States or in U.S. states, that doesn't mean the data is secure. I mean, I know that TikTok likes to say that. Well, the data is being managed by on American in American data centers. It's all about the algorithms, and so that kind of freaks me out, honestly. So I see some merit in what the House is trying to do here. We'll see what the Senate does. But let me turn this over to John very quickly, get his 2 cents on the topic.
Sure. Well, I mean, all these services all spy on us. There's no question about that. They track us where we are. They know where I am right now. They know what I look at online. So that's unavoidable. The issue is obviously that the Chinese government has a backdoor to this material. It's not to say that they're always watching it, but they have a backdoor, and that's the problem. How much of a problem it is, I mean, that just depends on your point of view, I guess. I don't think it's a big deal right at the moment. I'm amazed at the PR, the people trying to push against it, like that seem to actually care. And there's been a big lot of money behind pushing not to force them to divest. But that's what I think is interesting, is how much attention it's even getting, to be quite honest.
Right. No, I agree. You know what's so funny too is that I could be wrong about this, but I suspect, because TikTok is a sub 20-year-old medium for the users that are on it, and then, by the way, there's a lot of crazy content. It's not just the political stuff and hey, it might be manipulated by China.
Like the sea shanties on it.
There is a lot of bizarre content on TikTok that drives me crazy, because it's all about getting clicks and getting views. But you wonder, the members in the House who either voted against or for it, I'm not even sure if they've ever been on TikTok, frankly. Their children have been on it, I am sure. And their children are probably the most outspoken, saying, don't take this away from us. But Stuart, let me get your perspective. Are you concerned about this? Do you think there's merit in the House passing this bill to have TikTok divest itself, or what's your take?
This is so much ado about nothing. I am so stunned that they're picking on TikTok while Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk get away with far more egregious data, and Google get away with far more egregious data manipulation and data selling. That's the first thing. The second thing is, as we have often discussed here, the U.S. Congress are the worst people to be crafting legislation about social media. They don't know anything about it. There may be one or two members who have some knowledge about it. Amy Klobuchar, maybe a couple of others. But their staffs are all on it. They all have a presence on it because they want to reach that audience. It's a huge audience. I just don't understand that they don't have anything better to do. They're not the right people. There are all manner of First Amendment thing, because this is the government shutting down a communications network. It's hard for me to fathom, and I'll tell you, I've been an opponent of amending Section 230 for years, and I'm beginning to think that maybe that's a far better solution, and at least for the major players, a carefully crafted bill that would make at least the large players susceptible to, as any publisher would be, for the material that they publish on their sites. That might stem a lot of at least the superficial misinformation issues. But for the Congress of the United States to shut down a publishing platform is just really a bad political idea.
Rob, where do you weigh in?
I gotta agree there. So much of this strikes me as misplaced nonsense. The privacy argument, I think, is the weakest one possible, because what could Congress have done at virtually any point over the last 10 years? Pass a federal privacy law. There's been plenty of drafts put there, any one of which would at least chip away at the problem that right now, for most Americans, unless it's financial or health data, there's no meaningful regulation at the federal level of who gets to do what with that. And until you do that, it doesn't stop anything of the bigger problem, which is data brokers can buy up the stuff and sell it to anyone. I'm sure the Chinese Communist Party included. So anyone who is been yammering on about TikTok about this, but hasn't been working to advance a privacy bill, is fundamentally not a serious actor or legislator. I think the same thing goes for the security risks. I really don't think that's the case. This app actually has a lot fewer permissions than most of the social media apps. You can make a fair argument that because China doesn't let US social media apps in, we should return the favor. But how much do we want to imitate the practices of the Chinese Communist Party? And of course, TikTok has been trying to gin up opposition to this. This is what you see when you open TikTok. I only have it on my iPad. I trust Apple's privacy controls a little better in this case. Maybe the upside of this is a lot of 18 to 25-year-olds will care a lot more about politics and start paying attention because, you know, kids, people in DC, what they do can affect what you get to do.
That might be a bit of wishful thinking, my friend.
Could be. I've been wrong before.
Well, you know, the thing now. Well, the thing I'll just conclude with, I'm sure you guys will take issue with this, is that the Biden administration, which is, you know, leveraging TikTok for their campaign, they come out the other day. I think it was Biden who says, you know what, I would, if this bill came across my desk, I would sign it, which seems a little.
But now Trump says he likes TikTok, whereas he hated it before. Up is down, down is up, left is right.
Welcome to the wonderful world of U.S. politics.
Rob, that could be the title of your new book. What is up, what is down is down. Up the what's their movie? Up the Down Staircase with Sandy Denny. Oh my,
Sandy Denny.
I cannot believe I pull. I pull these cult references from old movies out all the time. But anyway, let's go to the next topic because this is a biggie. You know, in all full disclosure, John Quayne is a very close friend of Elon Musk.
This is like the Matt Damon, Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh man!
No, actually, he tried to run Elon Musk over at the track he was on. They had a part cut out, and he aimed for that. But interestingly enough,
oh my God,
this is a bit of a surprise. He launched this YouTube competitor that in cooperation with Amazon and Samsung, he wants to take on YouTube. You know, and I'm a big believer, Elon Musk aside, which I know is a challenge because he kind of takes the air out of the oxygen out of the room. It's always nice to have the competitor. John, you might want to. Yeah, there you go. So my perspective is that YouTube is such a behemoth in the streaming space. It's going to be really hard to take YouTube on. I question that. I think it's a very chaotic, that would be the word that I would use, because I just think that it's going to be really, really challenging. Although I admire the gusto, but it's going to be tough. So I'm not sure how much value. Well, I admire the fact that he is trying to give the market an alternative. I don't know how successful he's going to be. Samsung has had not had a lot of success with their own. They've taken some stabs at having a alternative video streaming play. They have their own operating system that runs on their smart TVs along with Amazon, and they're trying to position themselves as kind of an alternative to Roku. That's another piece of it. But Rob, let me get your perspective. Give me your clear-eyed view of this.
So Elon Musk is actually good at some things. Thursday morning, I watched the flight test of the Starship rocket, which made it all the way around the world. Really successful in a lot of respects, especially on the third time the thing flew at all. People like to dunk on him for so many things, but he's actually good at rockets. Social media is not one of those things, and especially not ad-supported social media. The guy who so far has just burned a whole series of bridges by making the former Twitter this free fire zone for every reactionary wingnut from Alex Jones on down, repelling advertisers left and right, in some cases telling them to F off. He's going to challenge YouTube. Good luck with that, pal. I don't think, yes, I would love to see YouTube get competition. I don't think this is going to be it.
Yeah. No, I unfortunately, I kind of align with that perspective. Stuart, now, did you see that video? Yes. I have to just, before I get you to provide what will be, I'm sure, a very insightful comment. Did you see that interview with Don Lemon from, formerly of CNN? I thought that was pretty funny that he gave him a shot to reemerge because he kind of vanished into thin air, and he got, I have to laugh at this. He literally got fired when he did his interview with Elon Musk and did kind of like a mea culpa on CNN, his former employer. But anyway, what's your take on all this?
So much for Elon Musk being in favor of free speech. It's free speech until it's his own. But I'm not insightful, but I'm a little confused because all the reports that I've read aren't really making it clear as exactly what this thing is going to be. I've read some reports that he's aiming to replace Prime Video and Netflix, which I can't see that happening because of the expense involved in producing original content. Then I see reports that what he's actually aiming at is a competitor to YouTube TV with 70 channels, including this Don Lemon.
They're all Nazi porn
channel, or if he's going to expand it to be a user contributor YouTube, but of course there are 3 YouTubes here. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what this platform is going to be. The thing that makes the most sense is perhaps because he already owns X, and he's already going to be expanding the longer form videos that are going to be able to be on the platform to be a competitor to YouTube in the user contributing platform, video platform, as opposed to trying to take on YouTube TV, which is getting, ABC and CBS and HBO and all of these people to stream, or to take on the Netflixes and the Prime Videos of the world. So I'm not exactly sure what the actual plan is. The most likely in my mind is to take on YouTube as a user contributor video.
That's my take. I agree with you, Stuart. I mean, if you read between the tea leaves, I can't believe he wants to take on Amazon,
right?
Prime, and again,
it's already a business that's not doing well as it is.
No, and live TV, that's a challenge in itself. So I think that and by the way, it would be nice for YouTube to have a competitor from an influencer content standpoint.
Sure.
If he
like
provided
TikTok.
Really more.
I'm just not sure he's the right competitor, but that's another discussion.
So, John, I know you're chomping at the bit here because you are Musk here. Try to take a pill. Try to look at this in a very balanced type of way, but provide your perspective on this topic.
Well, I mean, even the Truthiness channel, whatever that, the Donald Trump's thing, only has like 600,000 compared to billions of people on other social networks. So I'm not sure about Elon's going to carve out much of their space for that. So, I don't think that this is something that's ever going to fly. If you can't even get get past Don Lemon, I mean, oh my goodness, you can't even get that. Just stream it, just record it and stream it, upload it like we all do from our hotel rooms. No. But I don't think that's going to fly. And to Stuart's point about what the competition is, what they're trying to aim at, YouTube TV is rocking. I mean, it's just eating everybody else's lunch right now. And you can use it anywhere, and you can use it with multiple people, and generations are switching over and dumping cable. It's really cutting a big swath through the streaming business. So I don't think Elon's up to the task of making nice partnerships with all these broadcasters. Doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing either.
Well, you know what's strange too is YouTube TV has a really nice interface if you've actually played with it. I installed it for my mother months ago, and we really can navigate through content very, very quickly. And the reason why that's an important point, this whole component with Samsung and Amazon, which have competing interfaces, not that they're bad interfaces, but I don't know how that kind of it embeds itself with 2 major smart TV brands that have their own unique look and feel. It's a little confusing to me.
Well, it's not only that, it's all the affiliates too, and being able to use them wherever you are. There's none of this, are you a member of the household? Do you want to upgrade your household network? We know who that is, Netflix thing. And you can just use it anywhere, and you get all those stations. That is just killing everybody else. And there's none of this, I need to check in. I'm in St. Louis, which is where I'm headed now. I'll be able to use TV when I was there. Back in California, when I see Stuart next week, I'll be able to use it there too. So yeah, arranging all that is a lot trickier and involves working with a lot of different partners. And Elon does not like to work with partners. It's just not something that's going to happen very easily.
No, and I'm sure we'll have Elon Musk's name on the podcast agenda probably in another couple of weeks. We just can't get rid of this guy. Rob, you were at South by Southwest. I wanted to save the next few minutes to really focus on that, because South by Southwest has kind of morphed from a traditional film festival, which it still is, and kind of morphed into there's a strong technology component to it. And there has been, this intersection of AI and Hollywood. A lot of Hollywood folks I know that spoke at South by Southwest. I saw Michael Dell, obviously, because Dell is local in Austin. I think he was on the stage as well at some point. And I think Tim Cook was there. Did I see a pic? Was it Tim Cook at
I don't think, well, I didn't run into him. Granted, there were like the other 35 or 40,000 other people in the way. Did not know of any Tim Cook sightings.
So what was your
CEO, he gave a talk with the mayor of Austin, which is a funny thing to see. If you remember 2016, when Uber and Lyft both kicked the city to the curb rather than have their drivers undergo fingerprint authentication. All smiles now.
So what was your takeaway? What was the kind of
yeah, it was interesting to see. I mean, AI it's been a theme of every conference so far this year. And looking through my notes from previous South by Southwests. Yeah, I think it was like maybe 5-7 years ago. You would see people demoing. Here's this goofy AI. It'll write a script for you. Isn't that funny? Ha ha ha. Well, but look, we've gotten much further along. The AI art is all over the place. And one of the first panels I saw featured the lead negotiator of SAG-AFTRA, the actors union, and Duncan Crabtree Ireland was explaining, this is something we wanted to address. It was the first thing we laid out in our proposal. It was the last one to get settled. And they had that like 188 or so day strike where Hollywood backed down. The studios gave them basically what they wanted, which was give us control over whether you're going to reproduce our voices or likenesses with a digital replica, as the contract says. Let us choose what specific applications you want to use. You've got to pay us over time. But what he also said was, we were not going to ban AI. We, no more than any other union, cannot stop the march of technology. What we want to do is see that it's used in, an ethical and fair manner, i.e. that benefits their members, the way any good union would want to do. And it struck me as a very pragmatic and capitalist mindset to bring. If you're going to do this, we want these rights. If you're going to do things like, if you want to use it for lesser uses, if you want to just make a completely synthetic actor, you got to talk with us about that as well. And he also pointed out that the incentives of copyright are also aligning to put some brakes on commercial uses of AI, since you can't copyright the work of an AI, which means a studio that does that, you can't create the next Mickey Mouse via AI because there's no copyright there. No human made it. And so therefore you can't then profit exclusively from it for the next 100 years or whatever the current copyright term is.
So Rob, let me jump in for a second, because the one thing I haven't heard, and maybe there was some discussion about this, is that I'm fascinated with Sora, which is not public yet. I've seen some of the content. So we've all seen some of the content. It's pretty compelling. It's not amateur hour type of content. And I'm surprised, or maybe there was some commentary on when Sora
did mention that. Let me bring up my notes here.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, because yes, it is true that you can't copyright AI produced content. We'll see if that could change over time, but I think that's the general view on that. Can you own that content if you were playing a role in generating that content? But right now, I think your comments are
so his take, and this could be wishful thinking from my notes at the same time. I think we've been expecting it. It is not all clear that Sora has the capability to generate a convincing human performance, as opposed to landscapes or other things it can do, which could be true. I mean, certainly we've been using technology to generate landscapes and backdrops that never existed. George Lucas did not actually build a giant killer space station to film Star Wars, all done with models. So AI is just another way to do that. Yeah, I think. And the other point he made was, in movies especially, we want to have this sort of, people are so obsessed with celebrities because they're actually real people. And if they're all synthetic, who's going to walk the red carpet was one way he put it. So I think that the money making drive of studios will sort of lead them to still want to have that star system of one kind or another. Certainly commercials could look a whole lot different. Infomercials, training videos, a lot of the stuff that is less exciting. Like if you do voiceover work, maybe this is not a great development to look forward to over the next few decades. I don't know.
I see John chopping into bed. I think I know what he's going to say, but go ahead, John.
Well, I agree. I mean, there is an issue. One of the things I keep thinking about is Idoru by William Gibson. I don't know if you know that novel, but it's in which I think he's a pop star falls in love with an avatar. I mean, that's what we call them then. Now it's going to be AI generated avatars. I mean, it is quite an issue. If you look at, I'm getting a lot of LinkedIn requests. I'm sure everybody else is too, that's listening and watching, from what are essentially fake characters that are AI generated characters that are trying to tweak things. They know automotive technology. They know I'm interested in technology. They tried all these different ways to get at me. And you can just imagine, and some of the software too that you probably looked at, where you can actually do an episode of The Simpsons, things like that. And that is really amazing.
Well, and Stuart, I'd love to get your comment on this, because what's intriguing is what happens when celebrities or B-listers or C-listers start licensing their likeness so they can get paid. I mean, in fact, I saw an ad on Facebook the other day for customized happy birthday commercials from Martin Short, Dolly Parton, where they sing customized lyrics, and it's all digitally done. It's all AI. But for $25, you too can get a birthday greeting from Dolly Parton, which I know you're dying for, Stuart. That's exactly what you want to say.
Well, I actually got a personalized birthday greeting on my last birthday from one of my siblings, from William Shatner, which was actually kind of cool. It's very strange. But I think the big difference is who is generating the AI. Is it a third party, or is it the individual whose own likeness is being used? I think that's a huge dividing line. But as in all technology, two things rule: greed and the law of unintended consequences. We simply don't know what the technology is going to develop into, and how greed is going to motivate that development into something that is ugly, in sort of the same way that social media has sort of evolved from something that was supposed to be this utopian view of everybody having a voice and being able to communicate, and turning into this cesspool. It's just the law of unintended consequences mixed with greed. So, given we do know Moore's law doubles the number of transistors at any one point, so the technology is only going to get more powerful, which means it's going to be more capable of doing things that we're not going to like it to do. So I think as long as we put some sort of rules in place in terms of imaging, at least, that a person maintains control over their own image, likeness, and voice, as opposed to, or being able to grant it to third parties, as opposed to third parties doing it on their own, at least that's some sort of guardrail towards Hollywood not taking unfair advantage of the technology.
That was another thing.
Go ahead, Rob. You want to say something real quick?
Crab Maryland brought that up as well towards the end, saying, there should be some kind of law, because I've been deepfaked and I have no recourse legally because I don't have that property right on my own image. That said, I would say we should step carefully before inventing new kinds of intellectual property, because, again, the law of unintended consequences, that works both ways, baby. So be careful about what unintended consequences result from your attempt to deal with the unintended consequences of somebody else's technological innovation.
So, John, let me let you close out on this, but because I know you were chomping at the bit to say one more thing, but I'll let you close out.
Well, I do think you should be able to sort of copyright your own image, and it shouldn't be able to hijack that image. And there have been issues, with these CGI generated versions of, Clark Gable pitching some product on, dead actors and things like that. And I think that that money should go to the estate of those people. I think that's pretty obvious. I don't think that's too complicated. Whether you'll be able to push it past the business interests, that's another question. Look how long the Hollywood strike lasted. Look how long that strike lasted. So it was, they're fighting a tooth and nail because they want to be able to maximize this technology. And as Stuart said, we don't know exactly where it's going to lead. And I want to be able to deploy it and not be restricted by some contract I've signed with the union, let's say.
Well, we'll kind of end there. The only thing I would say is that I think that there's going to be so much pressure on the business perspective that you guys have raised that there's going to be demand that, hey, that's my likeness. I want to get some type of financial reward out of it. So it's hard for me to believe, and there are issues with that. There are challenges, as Rob has rightly pointed it out. But my guess is there's going to be so much pressure that it's going to be hard to resist not creating an IP-like approach to all of this. But guys, thanks for taking the time to join me for today's podcast. For our viewing and listening audience, thanks for making the SmartTechCheck podcast part of your day or commute. Please make sure that you hit the like and subscribe buttons at the end of today's podcast, or use these on-screen QR codes to connect with me. You can also follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at MarkVinaTechGuy. And until next time, have a great week. And guys, have a great weekend too.
Yes, you too. Happy St. Patrick's Day.